Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gora Hari Bol. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Jaya Radha Damodara, Radha Damodara, Shri Radhe. Jai Radha Damodara, Radha Damodara, Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Damodara, Radha Damodara, Shri Radhe. Go Premanandi. Om Agana Chiranandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militang Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we've been reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita. But this is the week before Sri Krishna Janmashtami, and I thought we need a warm-up for Janmashtami. It's good to go over certain precepts, which you may think are well-known, but we can never hear of them enough. So we're going to look at the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the last chapter, number 24, which introduces Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, that last chapter of the 9th canto is a prelude to the 10th canto. It's whetting your appetite. It's an appetizer. Appetizers are very important in rasa science. stimulation of the appetite. Just like you read in Nectar Devotion about stimulants for ecstatic love, seeing various paraphernalia of Krishna brings about ecstatic changes, transformations. In rasa science, purva rag is very important. Purva means prior, before, and raga means attachment in a deep transcendental emotional state. So in bhakti, purva rag is very important. Anticipation. And you can see the same factor in material life, pervertedly. 95% of so-called material pleasure is anticipation. You build something up in your mind. Oh, I can just see it now. This is going to be good. Yes, this will solve all my problems. This will fulfill me. This will satisfy me. You work yourself into a tizzy in your mind. This is called, in fancy sociological terminology, emotional forecasting. Just like there's weather forecasting, there's also emotional forecasting. You're forecasting, you're looking ahead and projecting how you're going to feel. You're projecting your anticipation into the actual future event. And you always overshoot the mark. You always overestimate the emotional bang you're going to get from something in the future. A subdivision of that emotional forecasting problem, which is also called the impact bias. You are predisposed to overestimating the impact of whatever emotional event you encounter. It's similar, this whole phenomenon is similar to what is called the arrival fallacy. I think we've explained that before, yes? Anyone here not know what the arrival fallacy is?
I do not.
Oh, you should. You project in your mind that when I go from point A to point B, this is how I'm going to feel, this is how I'm going to be satisfied, I'm going to be fulfilled, and you always are wrong.
Existentialism, point of arrival departure.
So, in material life, practically most of your so-called happiness and fulfillment is in the anticipation. It's in the mind. That's why the Shastra explains that material existence is mostly lived in the mind. If you can catch your mind doing this, you save yourself a lot of trouble. That's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, for one who can control the mind is the best of friends, and for one who has failed to do so, the mind is the worst enemy. I remember one purport in that 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada writes that the mind can act wonderfully for taking you back to Godhead. Oh, how we all long for that. When the mind will act wonderfully for taking us back to Godhead instead of being a rascal. So if you can understand how material existence works, how it's lived in the mind, and it's mostly about anticipation, false anticipation, you save yourself so much trouble. This is why in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Prachaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Shut down your plan-making factory. That means shut down the anticipatory delusions and take Krishna's plan. So my point is that in the spiritual reality, anticipation is very important. It's a big part of rasa science, as we said, purva rag, explained by Rupa Goswami in his various rasa shastras, like Ujjwala Nilomani, and you see a bit of it in Chaitanya Charitamrita and Nectar Devotion. So in purva rag, the anticipating of meeting Krishna is a very fascinating, delicate, and wondrous phase. You haven't there's no sambhog yet. There's no meeting with Krishna, but there's the anticipation. And that, in real life, in the spiritual reality, is completely real and full of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. You haven't yet met up with the beloved, but your feelings of anticipation generate a particular existential state called purvarag. And that happens by hearing talks about the beloved, by seeing the beloved from a distance. This is all described by Rupa Goswami. And by dreaming, meeting the person in dreams. A whole bhava is generated. So this ninth canto, last chapter, chapter 24, is building up your anticipation for meeting Krishna. As you know, the 10th canto is Krishna's smiling face. You start with the first canto, the lotus feet, and then you gradually raise your vision. And so now you're in the last verses of the 9th canto, which are preparing you for the smiling lotus face of Krishna in the 10th canto. So anticipation is very important. Bhagavatam is the perfection of emotions. Everyone likes to be emotional. The ladies readily admit it, the men don't admit it. But everyone actually is absorbed in some kind of bhava, some kind of emotional existential state. So Shukadeva Goswami is building up your sense of anticipation. He's giving you the real emotional forecasting. Coming up ahead is the 10th canto. Can you believe it? Can you feel it? Are you ready? Do you understand Krishna? It's like the drum roll. So emotional dynamics are very important in Srimad Bhagavatam. And by associating with Srimad Bhagavatam, you get glimpses into what are real emotions. So we're going to look at text 56. I believe there's 67 verses in this chapter. And we'll start with 56, where Shukadeva Goswami is going to cover what you might think is very familiar ground, but it can't be repeated enough. The principles behind Krishna's appearance. The more we hear these principles, the more we are submissive in our hearing, because we understand the axioms, we understand the fundamental principles. Just like if you understand the fundamental principles of material nature, you save yourself so many problems. Even in the face of temptation, agitation, bewilderment, delusion, you think about the fundamental principles. How material existence is lived in the mind, and an out-of-control mind invents so many false ideas of happiness, concoctions. That's why Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, when the yogi, the genuine yogi, gives up on concocting ideas of happiness, then there can be peace. So this mind is like a machine constantly turning out false ideas, concoctions, based on what it's heard from others. So this is why sound vibration can be so uplifting in the case of hearing with devotees, or it can be very deadening, as the case is when associating through sound vibration with abhaktas, non-devotees. So a Vaishnav, an aspiring Vaishnav, is very careful about sound vibration, about the sound vibration that surrounds you, because your head becomes filled with delusions. I like to say the equivalent of visions of sugar plums dance in your head. Yes, this is going to be good. I can just taste it now. You build all that up in your mind. At last, I'll get what I want. Oh, how the conditioned soul loves that feeling that at last I am going to get what I want. A situation meant to please me has come along. A person meant to please me has come along. This is what life is all about. It's about time this happened. We all act like the world owes us a favor. I'm born, therefore the world owes me a good time. Right? Nice things should happen to me because I'm a nice person. I mean, I'm not perfect, but who is? Good things should happen to good persons. I think I'm pretty good, if you ask me. So if we can learn how to live with a wild mind, that takes tolerance, though. Just like I watch mothers looking after their children. It takes a lot of tolerance. Of course, for them, it's a joy most of the time. Right, Dunya? You're a joy all the time? It takes tolerance to do anything in this material world, in case you haven't noticed. Relationships take tolerance. Right, Dina Palika? Everything. Parenting takes tolerance. Working, does that not take tolerance? Anything you do. Being around devotees sometimes takes tolerance. But you have to always remember what's the outcome of associating with devotees and what's the outcome of associating with non-devotees. But of course, going to work, you tolerate because what? Huh?
Paycheck.
That's right, you get paid. You're undergoing inconvenience voluntarily for the sake of, well, you would say, subsistence, or you have plans to enjoy, plans to make this world a comfortable, secure place. So you tolerate. So my point is that whether in material or spiritual existence, toleration has to be there. But there's some reason that when we take up bhakti, we think, now I don't have to tolerate anymore. Now, because I'm Krishna's devotee, I should get what I want. And it should be handed to me on a silver platter. Right? Yes? Everything right should happen to me because I am a devotee. And then we're shocked when we find out the bhakti world doesn't work like that, and the material world doesn't work like that. The bhakti world means how can Krishna enjoy? How to give Krishna pleasure. That principle makes the difference between material existence and spiritual existence. The more you think, how can Krishna be happy? What can I do to give Krishna pleasure? The more you're in the spiritual world. So we want to talk about the principles of Krishna's appearance in this world. You've heard it all before, but these points are very deep and require constant thought. Reevaluation. How much do I really understand the significance of these principles? The impact of these principles? So Shukadeva Goswami in this chapter has begun by giving you a whole dynastic lineage. This one is the father of that one. This is the son and daughter of that one. Till finally he gets to Vasudeva and Devaki. And so now he's introducing Krishna as the son of Vasudeva. In the purport, Prabhupada wants to make it clear, as did the previous acharyas, that Krishna is not an avatar. He's not an amsha. Krishna is not a portion of a portion. He is swayam bhagavan. What is the significance about Krishna being swayam bhagavan? Who knows?
The origin of all other forms of the Lord?
Yes, he's the origin of all other forms of the Lord, and he is perfect and complete in his exhibition of the full attributes and qualities of the Supreme Personality Godhead Bhagavan. This is an important point. It's not that the avatars and incarnations and plenary expansions are incomplete. They are perfect and complete in of themselves, but they don't show all their completeness. Therefore, we say Krishna is the complete presence of the Personality Godhead, because Krishna shows it all. You've read in Nectar of Devotion the 64 qualities of Krishna. And 4 of them he doesn't share with other incarnations, or not even Lord Narayan. He doesn't share with Lord Narayan the exhibition of these special qualities. Who knows those 4 special qualities? Huh? Lila Madhurya, yes.
Playing on the flute.
Playing on the flute. Venu Madhurya. Huh? Yes. Prema Madhurya. Loving associates. And Rupa Madhurya. Beauty of the form. These 4 characteristics Krishna doesn't even share with Narayan. Only Krishna reveals the fullness of Bhagavan. So in the 51st verse, Shukadeva Goswami says, Swayameva Hari Kila. This indicates, Prabhupada writes, that Krishna, the 8th son of Devaki, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is not an incarnation. Although there is no difference between the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, and his incarnation, Krishna is the original Supreme Person, the complete Godhead. Incarnations exhibit only a certain percentage of the potencies of Godhead. The complete Godhead is Krishna himself, who appeared as the 8th son of Devaki. So let's establish that principle firmly, that Krishna is not an incarnation. He's not an expansion. So next, what are the principles of Krishna's appearance in this world? This next verse in Srimad Bhagavatam will repeat closely what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So we look at text 56 if you're following along. Yada yada hi dharmasya shayo vriddish japapmanaha. Tada tu bhagavan isha atmanam srijate hari. Whenever the principles of religion deteriorate and the principles of irreligion increase, the Supreme Controller, the Personality of Godhead, Sri Hari, appears by his own will. So Krishna is teaching you how and when and why he comes. Sometimes persons say, why would God want to come here? Well, how can you put restrictions on Krishna? Everything is his energy. His energies are all spiritual. When people say, why would God want to come here? They really mean, don't bother us. Leave us alone. We don't need a cosmic chaperone. We want to do our own thing. Just like a young couple wants to be together alone. They don't want anyone looking at them or monitoring them. They want to have free opportunity. So that same kind of feeling is how we approach our existence. Hands off, leave me alone. I want to do my thing. I don't want to be curbed. I don't want to be restricted. Let what happens, happen. And then I'll be happy. So it's good for us to hear again and again the principles of Krishna's appearance, especially as Janmashtami approaches and we can go deeper into Sri Krishna Janmashtami and not just participate ritualistically. Of course, you'll get credit by participating in Sri Krishna Janmashtami, even if you have no understanding and you just do it ritualistically. But we want to go deeper. We want the full blessings possible from Sri Krishna Janmashtami. It's not just about fasting until midnight. It's about understanding Krishna. So the verse echoes Bhagavad Gita, as we said. And let's hear from the purport by Srila Prabhupada, and we'll highlight various aspects of this very significant purport, which is jam-packed with essential themes. Let us begin. The principles by which an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends upon earth are explained in this verse. Please pay attention. These same principles are also explained in Bhagavad Gita by the Lord himself. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam sridamyaham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. So you'll say, all right, well, where's Krishna? It's pretty bad right now. What's going on? You may recall a verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita about how the Supreme Lord manifested in the age of Kali. Who knows the verse? Kali Kale Namarupe, Krishna avatar. Yes, in this age of Kali, the Supreme Personality Godhead appears as Namarupa, the form of the holy name, Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada tells us, in the present age, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has appeared. Where? As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to inaugurate the Hare Krishna movement. And now, Prabhupada gets very heavy, we might think. At the present time, in Kali Yuga, people are extremely sinful and bad. No, it can't be true. Do you feel sinful and bad? No way. Do you feel sinful and bad? No.
Not particularly.
No, you feel like you're basically all right, yeah?
All right.
And if you made a few mistakes, you forgive yourself, right?
Well, I don't,
You don't make mistakes.
I don't know if it's me forgiving myself that matters.
But you do, right?
Yes,
You want to have good self-esteem, right?
sure.
I'm a good guy, you think? Not the best, not the worst, right?
Yeah.
There's others out there much more confused than I am. So, at the present time in Kali Yuga, people are extremely sinful and bad. Why would he say such a thing? Is it really a situation like that? I mean, there's meat eating going on galore. There's illicit sex. Illicit sex? What's that? Gambling. Oh, well, it's their money. If they want to gamble it away, what's the problem? Intoxication. Well, a little recreational drug will do you all right. Herbal supplements. So we're so desensitized to such behavior that we have a hard time understanding these behaviors are causing people to suffer, not only in this lifetime but in the next. So they're called mandas, Sanskrit for extremely slow and dull. I'm not a manda. I'm kind of sharp, you know, right? Penn State, right? Advanced degree, right? You're not a manda, slow. we don't have any idea what the real standard is of human life. But Prabhupada has just started in this purport. He says, they have no idea of spiritual life and are misusing the benefits of the human form to live like cats and dogs. How can he say that? Misusing the benefits of the human form to live like cats and dogs? Who is he to say that? But what are the benefits of the human form? We don't know that, but all we know is we're not living like cats and dogs. We don't know the benefits of the human form. That doesn't matter. But we're not living like cats and dogs. Under these circumstances, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has inaugurated the Hare Krishna movement, which is not different from Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one associates with this movement, he directly associates with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada is pointing out how Krishna is present in this darkness of the age of Kali, in which people think the greatest benediction is just to have a long life. What about the quality of that life? What about what you're doing? Never mind, just live long. And what does Shukadeva Goswami say in the second canto? Who remembers? Kim pramatasya bahubi. What's the value of a long life? Parokshaya vairanaraha. Wasted by years of inexperience and ignorance. What does it matter that your life is long if you're just a dummy? If you're a manda, you have no idea what are the benefits of having a human body. So Shukadeva says, better live for a moment only, but in that moment have some understanding of what's going on. Better just live for a moment than a long life. It's like my mother was telling me a few days ago. She's next month she'll be 97, and her mother lived to 104, and so people consider that's a great achievement. Wow, to live past 100. But what's the use if you have no knowledge? If you are what Shukadeva Goswami says is years of inexperience, bewildered by the illusory energy. What's the point of having a long life? This sounds so counterintuitive, doesn't it? I want a long life of security and comfort. And Shukadeva is saying, what's the use of it? You don't know what you're doing. So Prabhupada writes, if one associates with this movement, he directly associates with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what should people do? He says, people should take advantage of the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. You ever think about it like that? Take advantage of the Hare Krishna mantra. Yes, I'm going to chant. Take advantage of chanting. Seize the mantra. Like a drowning person grabbing for a life preserver. Take advantage of the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra and thus gain relief from all the problems created in this age of Kali. Gain relief. So this verse is explaining the general reason for Krishna's appearance. But we can analyze other fundamental principles. Never do we hear them enough. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives you the measurements for understanding how he's not an ordinary person. Who knows the verse? Ajopi san, avyatma, prakritim swan, sambhavami atmamaya. He gives you 3 points to think about. Although I'm unborn, aja, And my transcendental body is inexhaustible. Avyayatma. Bhutanam Ishvaropisan. I'm the Lord of all sentient beings. That was number 3. Still I come. How do I come? Sambhavami Atma Maya. I come through my own conduit. And that is a major difference. If you can only understand one difference between the conditioned soul and the Supreme Personality Godhead, it's this. So we'll hear about that in the next verse especially. Nahyasya janmano hetu karmanova mahipate atma mayam vaneshasya prasya drashtu atmanaha. O King, Maharaj Pritchett. Shukadeva Goswami is speaking to Pritchett Maharaj, obviously. But for the Lord's personal desire, there is no cause for his appearance, disappearance, or activities. As the Supersoul, he knows everything. Consequently, there is no cause that affects him, not even the results of fruitive activities. So in this verse, you are getting pointed out to you clearly the difference between you and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You can only understand one difference. It's this, that Krishna has no material cause for his appearance in this world, his disappearance from this world, or his activities. There's no cause that's binding upon him. He's not affected. He's not even affected by karma. This is a big deal because for all other living entities, unless they know how to live karma-free in a bhakti lifestyle, they are affected by karma. And of course, the reason why they take a body is because of karma. But Krishna has no karmic derivatives for his appearance. This is a big deal. So let's hear. This verse points out the difference between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and an ordinary living entity. What happens with an ordinary living entity? He or she receives a particular type of body according to what? According to karma. As Lord Kapila explains in the 3rd canto, karmana daiva netrena jantra deho papattaye. A living being is never independent and can never appear in this world independently. So what does this mean? Do you feel like you can never be independent? What do you think? Never be independent. Oh, it sounds pretty strong, doesn't it? I mean, you decided to wear that sari instead of another sari, right?
I did.
Yeah, independence. Just see. You decide your hairstyle from month to month, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's independence. You decided to come to Gita Nagari, right?
I did.
Independence. So what is all this talk about? The living entity is not independent. Anyone can answer? You want to answer? Are you independent? The reason why you should accept that you're not independent is because you didn't ask for the body you have. It was forced on you. You had no choice. Oh, well, that's all. Come on. That's our reaction, right? So what if I had a body forced on me? Big deal. Look, I chose my fashions. I chose the used car that I drive. I got independence. I chose to be with this person, not that person. Independence. So how can the Bhagavatam just dismiss all that? It seems just too severe. Dare I say, it's fanatical. But Shukadeva Goswami is making a big deal out of the fact that never mind your choice of fashions, never mind your choice of partners, never mind your choice of cars, you had a body forced upon you. And we don't even remember that. Okay, I got a body, that's the way it is, you know. Got to make the most of it, you know. Try for good times, try for good feelings, good bodily experiences. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Why point out the distasteful aspects of material existence? Focus on the joys, the splendors, the satisfactions. All right, they're temporary, but still, it's something. But here we get the heavy line drawn. We had a body forced upon us. Why do we have to think about these things? It's like prisoners delighting in getting some candy smuggled into the prison by their friends. They forget all about the fact you're in prison, you're in a cell. Oh, but my mother, when she came to visit me in the prison, she was able to slip me some candy. Anyone else outside the prison says, you fool, get out of prison. So what did you got a little candy while you're in prison? So this is how conditioned we are. We refuse to look at the big picture because we got no answers for it, right? So what about the next body? Oh, the universe will take care of me. Who used to say like that? Yes, Madhupan Leela, who else? Parmeshwari, Yashadeva. I'm a good person as far as I can understand, right? You were thinking like that, right? Great person, yeah. From California, everything is good. Anyway, all the girls say I'm good, so they must know what they're talking about. We refuse to face up to the fundamental realities. We call that heavy stuff. But it's the reality. If you can accept these fundamental principles, then you can start to work on becoming free. So that's why the line is drawn very firmly in the Bhaktivedanta purports. One is forced to accept a body imposed upon him by Maya according to his past karma. This is a big deal. And it's the one thing that you can immediately emphasize as the difference between Krishna's coming and our coming to this world. We have a body imposed upon us, imposed by the external illusory energy Maya according to our past karma. So the purport goes on to explain, yantra rudani maya, the body's like a machine, a yantra, created and offered to the living entity by the material energy under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this principle is so important. The purport's going to continue to hit the nail on the head with the hammer. Therefore, the living entity must accept a particular type of body awarded to him by Maya. So just look at your body now. This has been awarded to me. This sack of birth, death, disease, and old age has been awarded to me. Oh, it's not like that. No, it's not that bad. I've got hopes for enjoying with this body. I've got hopes for its comfort and satisfaction. Why does Prabhupada have to underline repeatedly these basic points? One time is enough. I heard it before. Isn't that good enough? We've all heard it, right? Yes? Why we got to hear this again and again? But these are the fundamental principles of material existence. He goes on. He's not going to let you off the hook yet. One cannot independently say, give me a body like this, or give me a body like that. One must accept whatever body is offered by the material energy. This is the position of the ordinary living entity. So we naturally, or unnaturally, that means in illusion, we feel, I took birth in this family. This is mother, this is father, these are my brothers and sisters, this is my neighborhood. It seems also appropriate and also real. We don't like to think, I was forced to take birth through these parents. I was forced to take birth in this place. No, we feel some kind of sentimentality. This is my family. This is my neighborhood. I'm from this place. Where are you from? Oh, you're from there also? Me too. You feel this imaginary bond when actually that person shares none of the experiences you have had, even though you both grew up in the same place. Still, you feel some kind of illusory bond. This is a tragedy. So repeated hearing is the solution. That's why we need to refresh ourselves with these fundamentals. Krishna doesn't have a body forced on him. That is the main difference between Krishna and the ordinary living entities. So why does Krishna descend? We've heard how he descends. He descends through his own conduit, his own portal, purely spiritual. But when he descends, what activates his descent? So we hear that when Krishna descends, he does so out of his merciful compassion for the fallen souls. The Supreme Lord is not forced to appear. Indeed, no one can subject him to force, for he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there are two things we're going to hear, all coming from the word Maya. Maya can mean deceit or false pride, illusion, but Maya can also mean compassion. So for an ordinary living entity, the body that you have is a punishment. But for Krishna, his body is the same as the self. His body is not a punishment. So what do you say about that? Do you feel that your body is a punishment? How many of you really feel that way? But before hearing these liberating informations, you're thinking, yes, the body is my opportunity for delight, for comfort, for security. But an intelligent person understands the body is meant for your undoing. It's a punishment. But you can use that body to get out of the punishment. So when Krishna comes to the world, Maya refers to his compassion or mercy upon the devotees. So for the ordinary living entity, what's the cause of his or her being born? Previous karmas. And what is the cause of Krishna's so-called birth and activities? Huh? Yes. Mercy. Except for that reason, there's no other reason. He comes because of mercy. And the result of that mercy is his birth and his activities. By showing his birth and activities, living entities can hear about them, think about them, and become free from material life. So we can see the whole sequence with Krishna. His appearance is impelled by mercy, not by material nature. And the result of feeling that mercy on the living entities, Krishna apparently takes birth and acts in this world. Why does the mercy come? You have to see the whole sequence. Mercy, then appearance. in this world, meaning his birth and activities. But why the mercy? Why the compassion? It's because he's the witness of the living entities and sees their suffering as the witness, as the Paramatma in their heart. So he sees the suffering, the bewilderment of the conditioned souls, and then he feels merciful, and then the result of that mercy is he comes. So these are the fundamental principles of Krishna's appearance. So we go to the next text. Yanmaya chestitam pumsa stit yut pat yapyayahi anugrahas tan nivrittir atmalabhaya cheshyate. The Supreme Personality of Godhead acts through his material energy in the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this cosmic manifestation, just to deliver the living entity by his compassion and stop the living entity's birth, death, and duration of materialistic life. Thus, he enables the living being to return home back to Godhead. So the purport here is dealing with the point that sometimes people ask, why has God created this world and it's full of suffering? Prabhupada doesn't waste any time. He grabs, so to speak, grabs the bull by the horns and says, yes, the material creation is certainly meant for the suffering of the conditioned souls. Why does he talk like that? He doesn't cut us any slack. People say, why? If there's a God, why is there suffering? And Prabhupada's responding, yes, there is suffering. This material creation is certainly meant for suffering. We want to hear something else. The material creation is meant for enjoying. And why doesn't God help us enjoy? Like sometimes when I'm speaking at programs, people challenge, didn't God give us these bodies to enjoy? So I respond, well, why aren't you enjoying? What do you mean, why am I not enjoying? I think I'm having a good time. The mundas, the slows. Material existence means two kinds of people, slows and super slows. So we'll find out more about the educational program of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is unlimited. The living entities are limited. When we say Krishna is unlimited and we are limited, there's a very important ramification of that. I don't think you'll get it. You'll just say, oh, Krishna is unlimited. I am limited. Yeah, so be it. But when it comes to our number one goal of controlling and enjoying, limitation is a big thing. So the purport explains. The Lord possesses unlimited potency for pleasure, and the living entities have a limited pleasure potency. Frustrating. But if you can grasp this point, you save yourself a lot of trouble. Because we want unlimited enjoyment in a world of flickering happiness. We don't realize our constitutional nature is that our pleasure-seeking potency is limited. So therefore we blame others. You're not satisfying me. You're not doing what I want. You're not fulfilling me. You're not resonating with me. And what's the bottom line? What have you done for me lately? That's the bottom line. To accept that we have a limited pleasure potency, that takes some humility. Because under the influence of the illusory energy, we have this outlandish, humongous capacity, we think, in our mind to enjoy. But actually, we're so tiny. We're too tiny to be enjoyers. Not only are we too tiny to be enjoyers, but it's not our constitutional position. What does that mean? It means we are meant to be enjoyed, not the enjoyer. We can only be indirect enjoyers, enjoying after Krishna enjoys. That doesn't sound very enlivening, does it? Until we make peace with this point, there'll be no inner peace. People like to talk about inner peace, but there'll be none until they make peace with this point that they can only be indirect enjoyers. So this difference between the Lord with his unlimited potency for pleasure and the living entities having a limited pleasure potency, this is extraordinarily significant. And because of overestimating our pleasure potency, and because of misunderstanding our constitutional position as the enjoyed, not the enjoyer, we struggle and we suffer. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, manastastan indriyani prakriti-stani karshati. With our equipment, our mind and senses, we struggle in the oppressive material atmosphere. Sometimes you realize at a young age that the body is oppressive. Sometimes you don't face the realities until you're old. But sooner or later, that truth will make itself known. So Prabhupada explains, both the Lord and the living entity, being qualitatively spirit soul, have the tendency for peaceful enjoyment. We have the tendency for peaceful enjoyment. But we want to enjoy independently without Krishna. And therefore we're put into the material world. So this is consolation. We do have the tendency for peaceful enjoyment, but we have declared war. Just like you look at the world situation and you wonder, why is this country declaring war on that country? And why is this country invading that country? And this country is killing the women and children and blowing up hospitals in another country. You're recognizing you have this aspiration for peaceful enjoyment, and you want the whole world to be a place of peaceful enjoyment. But that's impossible when we seek to live independently from Krishna. So the Bhagavatam is going much deeper than the story of the Garden of Eden, going much deeper into the science of why we're in material existence and how to get out. So here's a deep point for you to meditate. When the part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead unfortunately wants to enjoy independently without Krishna, he is put in the material world, where he begins his life as Brahma and is gradually degraded to the status of an ant or worm in stool. This is called Manasastan Indriyani Prakriti Stani Karshati. There is a great struggle for existence because the living entity, conditioned by material nature, is under nature's full control. Do you feel like you're under nature's full control? Come on, it's not. That's a bit too strong. What do you think? Demorakata, do you feel like you're under nature's full control? When you're farming, you understand how much dependent you are on nature. You're right. That's why agriculture is said to be the noblest occupation, because you realize how totally you are facing the power of nature. Now, why do we think we're enjoying the material world? Why? Devaki Preeti, why do we think we're enjoying the material world?
I think we think that we
There's a deeper reason. Why do we have that notion that in my little sphere of control, I have some happiness? Because we have limited knowledge. So it's not only that our pleasure potency is limited, but also our knowledge is limited. So separate from Krishna, we get bewildered. Like if Danya was walking out Gita Nagari onto the main road and she'd be bewildered because she's limited. Everyone knows that, but we think we're fully competent. We don't accept that our pleasure potency is limited, and we don't accept that our knowledge is limited. You accept that your knowledge is limited, right? So you wouldn't go walking out on the road, right? So this is embarrassing for us to admit our limitations. The way the world works, you want to present yourselves to others as being expert, experienced, strong, capable, competent, right? What happens if you're applying for a job and you say, well, I'm just limited. What do you say, Achyuta Devi? You're a job work counselor. Can you tell the people, confess your limitations? No, you want to present yourself as fully competent. Yeah, I can do this, I can do that. Sure, I can handle any situation. So to accept two things, that our pleasure-seeking capacity is limited and our knowledge is limited, those are great steps forward. And so Prabhupada is making sure before the 10th canto starts that you got this down, that you have this assimilated, because Krishna Lila is coming. But how can you relish Krishna Lila if you haven't mastered these points? In this way, the conditioned soul undergoes a great struggle for existence in this material world, and therefore the Lord, out of compassion for him, appears in this world and instructs him. The real dharma is to surrender unto Krishna, but the rebellious living entity, instead of surrendering to Krishna, engages in adharma, in a struggle for existence to become like Krishna. Therefore, out of compassion, Krishna creates this material world. Out of compassion, Krishna creates the material world with all the suffering. He creates this material world to give the living entity a chance to understand his real position. Every conditioned soul is struggling, but human life provides the best chance for him to understand his position. So that's the master plan behind the creation of the material world. It's a chance to understand your real position by the school of hard knocks. But in the school of hard knocks, there are knowledge opportunities. But if you don't have Brahma Jigyasa, inquiry into the Supreme Absolute Truth, how can you make the best use of the temporary body and temporary material world? So sometimes people struggle with, why is there this world? Why does this world exist? Anyone here ever struggle with that thought? Parameshwar, you're nodding your head. Why does this world exist? What's it for? Some people worry about how to live the good life. Others worry about what is life good for. Better than troubling yourself about why does the world exist, the first question you should ask is, whose property is it? We never think that. Now, why does this world exist? Wait a minute. Who does it belong to? That's the last question you want to ask. The first inquiry should be, the world is existing. There's energy. Who does it belong to? Instead, we're, well, why does it exist? And as you go about exploiting and misusing everything. So Bhagavatam teaches you to ask the right questions. Every conditioned soul, the purport continues, is struggling, but human life provides the best chance for him to understand his position. The conditioned soul should be educated. This is the purpose of the creation. The fact is that there is a purpose for this creation, to give the conditioned soul a chance to return to his original consciousness, Krishna consciousness, and then return home back to Godhead and be completely happy in the spiritual world. So two things are going on in material existence. In the material world, the conditioned soul is given a chance to satisfy the senses. The opportunity is there. But at the same time, he is informed by Vedic knowledge that this material world is not his actual place for happiness. So you get the chance to make a fool of yourself, and you get a chance to educate yourself simultaneously. So what will you do? What will you do?
I would like to educate myself.
Very good. Do yourself a favor, educate your mind with Srimad Bhagavatam.
Getting that. Gotta finish the Gita first. Like it's
Wonderful.
proper.
Okay. Any questions?
I have two questions related to, suppose, the object of pleasure and pleasure potency. First, how you mentioned that is the goal of the devotees to please Krishna. Is the pleasure the indirect object, or is it not to render devotional service unto Krishna, therefore by giving him pleasure, or should the object in our mind be to please Krishna directly?
I'm trying to understand the distinction between what you said.
I don't know. To render devotional service unto Krishna and to please Krishna.
What do you mean under Krishna?
Unto.
Unto Krishna, yes. If you do what Krishna wants, you're pleasing Krishna.
Yes.
What's the difficulty?
No difficulty. It was just the object in mind.
If you do what Krishna wants, if you follow Krishna's instructions, you're pleasing Krishna.
Yes. Clear.
Krishna says, chant Hare Krishna. You're chanting Hare Krishna. You're pleasing Krishna. Associating with devotees. They look like devotees around here. Okay, you're starting to sort out your lifestyle in a Krishna conscious way?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're well on the road of pleasing Krishna. Congratulations. Anyone else? Yes.
So I was recently having this similar conversation with my son, Krishna,
How old is he now?
26,
Uh-huh. Where is he?
Atlanta,
Mm.
and he works with Krishna Surya.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yes.
So he was saying that we're sort of like what you were saying about suffering, in this material world, but that the suffering is created by Krishna. And so you were saying that Srila Prabhupada was saying, yes, this is the place of suffering. But isn't that suffering, what I was saying to him, that suffering is created by our desire to enjoy separately?
Yes. So look, there are different,
Seeing it as punishment from Krishna.
there are different angles of vision on the situation. You can also say that the conditioned soul has created the material world. And that the pure desires of the soul have created the spiritual world. Of course, the spiritual world is not created. But by the pure desire of the spirit soul, the spiritual world is going on. And by the impure desire of the conditioned soul, the material world is going on. So yes, in that sense, the improper desires of the conditioned soul have created the material world. Therefore, Krishna is reciprocating. Oh, that's what you want? Take it, here it is. But at the same time, Krishna is providing educational measures for reformation.
Yeah, but he's providing that opportunity based on love, right? Because
Yes,
without that,
yes. Therefore, as we heard, the the compassion of Krishna is what's generating his whole program. And where does that compassion come from? By his observing the suffering of living entities as a super soul in their heart. As a witness to all activities, Krishna is seeing, what are you doing? So then he responds with mercy. And from mercy comes his appearance in this world. Therefore, there's Sri Krishna Janmashtami. So you see the sequence? The chain reactions. Now you could ask, what comes first, the witnessing or the mercy? There are different aspects you can look at, different ways you can look at the situation with different emphases. Yes.
In the beginning you were speaking about emotional forecasting versus the Purva Ras in the spiritual world. I was wondering if you can explain the role or importance of anticipation in the beginning stages of our spiritual life.
You can anticipate hearing the Hare Krishna mantra better. You can anticipate the prasad will taste better because your senses are becoming more and more spiritualized. You can anticipate, if you're following the process properly, becoming free from lust, anger, greed, madness, envy, and illusion gradually. Gradually. If you're living properly. There may be battles, but you can see that you can come out on top of the battle. Everyone needs their personal victory. Everyone needs the experience that I was in a tough situation, but by chanting Hare Krishna, I chanted my way out of it. Once that happens to you, you'll never forget that. Once you know you can do it. Because in the beginning, Maya will jump you and say, come on, look, you chanted, still you got these problems. You're no saint, just face it. Just drop your chanting. Get out and enjoy yourself. What's the delay? So in the beginning, you may feel like that okay, the illusory energy is attacking me. I chanted, but still, I feel the attack. I guess it's not working. It works for others, but it's not working for me. But if you keep on going, that's the victory. If you push past that initial discouraging influence of the illusory energy. And there'll be discouragement coming from your mind. Come on, Dina Palika, who do you think you are? Who are you trying to fool? Come on, get real. How long can you keep your head above the water? You tried being good for a couple of years. All right, you did it, but let's get back to reality. But if you chant your way through that and just make up your mind, as much as Maya attacks me, that's how much I'm going to chant Hare Krishna and more, you'll have a victory that you'll never forget in life. Once you get that confidence in Krishna, I can chant my way through these situations, you become powerful, spiritually powerful. But until you come to that point, the harassment by the illusory energy is going to seem overwhelming. But if you take it as a challenge, okay, my lifetime career is to chant Hare Krishna no matter what. You'll come out victorious. Lifetime career, not just 1 year, 2 years, 10 years. But if you've got that lifelong determination, you'll come out on top. Even you may get knocked down, but you know how to pick yourself up with the chanting. Then you become a very effective devotee. One famous CEO in the USA years ago, he was the CEO of General Electric, which was considered a big thing maybe 50 years ago. He said, when it comes to hiring upper level managers, he said, don't come and talk to me. Don't come for an interview unless you've had a near-death experience. Unless you've been in charge of an enterprise that almost completely failed. I don't want to talk to you. So Krishna knows how to test us to bring the best out of us. And then once you know how to handle, how to come on top of the most severe challenges, you become very blessed by Krishna. You can impart that to others. So I always remember that statement by this guy who was a famous CEO. Jack Welch was his name. I don't want to see any potential candidates for upper management positions unless they've had a near-death experience of doing some enterprise, doing some management, and there was almost a complete failure. If you haven't had that in your CV, don't come and talk to me. Anything else? You have a question, Danya? You want to tell us about life in the womb today?
I wanted to ask, what can I help with Janmashtami?
What can you help with? You ask Dhruva and Parijata. They'll tell you. You want to do some service for Janmashtami? Very good. Yes.
It was very interesting. I hadn't heard, Gurudev, that experience of chanting through, I guess, some kind of catastrophe.
Personal difficulty, personal challenge, health challenge, relationship challenge, economic challenge.
My experience has just been chanting in spite of, whatever's going on. But I'm curious, is there something we do to bring about that realization of chanting through challenges, or is it something that
by chanting? Don't feel bad if you can't figure out any other response than just chanting Hare Krishna. Don't feel bad. Oh no, all I can do is just chant. I can't figure anything else out. I'm stymied. Therefore, I always say, when in doubt, chant Hare Krishna. When not in doubt, chant Hare Krishna. And once you have that personal victory, you become very strong in spiritual life. When you know how to take shelter of the Hare Krishna mantra.
So if we just know how to tolerate and continue chanting, it takes care.
In order to continue chanting, you have to tolerate. Otherwise, that's why Lord Chaitanya says, Chanada Pisanichena, more tolerant than a tree. Then Kirtaniya Sada Hari. Then you can always chant Hare Krishna. Just like someone misunderstands you, it happens. They mistreat you, and you want to, what's your first tendency?
You try to say something slick back.
You want to strike back. Retaliation. Whether in family life or devotee temple life, retaliation. You've got to retaliate because you've been misunderstood. You've been underappraised. It's like some appraiser for some real estate comes and fixes a price that's way below the property value. You're outraged. But my house is worth more than that. So someone treats you in such a way that lowers your value, you feel. You get angry. You want to retaliate. But you have to decide. Do you want a soft heart so you can chant Hare Krishna, or do you want a hard heart? And retaliation brings about lumps in the heart. With lumps in the heart, how can you call out Krishna's name with feeling? So tolerance allows your heart to remain soft. And with a soft heart, you can chant Hare Krishna properly. Yes.
In the purport, Prabhupada mentions that in the present age, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to inaugurate the Hare Krishna movement. So, how is it that so many people and so many living entities are living their entire lives not getting to get introduced to the Mahaprabhu or his movement?
They have more than one life. If they're in some far off corner of the world where they never see devotees, never see books, never see Harinam party, they can take birth again. Krishna is not unjust. It's not that just one tiny lifespan is all there is. But a devotee of Lord Chaitanya feels the desire, the need to give everyone, everywhere, a chance to be Krishna conscious, whether it's South America, Africa, Arctic, Antarctic. That's how the devotee feels. And the devotee is carrying Krishna's mercy. So maybe devotees don't reach every nook and cranny on the planet in this lifetime, but Lord Chaitanya's movement is going on beyond your lifetime in that body. Yes.
Maharaj, what's regards to the difference between the living entity and Krishna in having limited potency to enjoy and Krishna having unlimited potency? Why is it that when the jiva achieves like the topmost capacity for enjoyment in this material world, such as kama vashayita siddhi, that even that is insufficient to actually enjoy?
Because you can't be the enjoyer. And you have a limited ability to pretend, but you fundamentally cannot be the enjoyer. But you have a little scope to pretend. Krishna makes it that way. You have a little bit of range of possibility. And you make such a big thing out of it, right? Just like when you used to drive your car and it used to make that sound, you know, you thought it was going to attract the girls, right? Did it attract you, Dina Palika, with it? The loud sound of his car? He said he really thought that. You know, red car with a loud engine, that would bring all the ladies. The older men are laughing. They know it's going to take a bit more than that. But he thought that like an inexperienced soul in this world. Yeah, I get a red car, it makes loud noises. That'll do it. They'll be attracted. Of course, all the ladies are laughing. They know it's a delusion. Now, if you give them a car, that would do something. You walk and they take the car. So limited capacity to enjoy means it's in a dream. But fundamentally, we are the enjoyed. So it takes a lifetime for us to sort ourselves out in bhakti to address this point. All the 4 ashrams are meant for addressing this point in different styles, but they all are meant for addressing the point that we are not the enjoyer. Some, you have to confront that abruptly. Other ashrams, you can gradually find your way to accepting this point. All right? Last question.
Is it also in Krishna, this tendency to be enjoyed?
Yes. Krishna knows that devotees actually have more pleasure than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Enjoyer. So Krishna comes as the enjoyed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that way Krishna retains his title as a Supreme Enjoyer. Since devotees enjoy more, Krishna says, all right, I'll be a devotee. That's Gauranga. That's the mystery of Gaura Purnima. Okay? All right, tomorrow, Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming. Hari Hari Gauri.